Greetings, dear viewer, and welcome to Purposes Crossed, a channel where people who are called by Jesus for different purposes can cross paths and exchange ideas. In this video, we are starting our series of reflections on the Sermon on the Mount. So let us proceed by reading Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 12. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he had sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who went before you." Jesus begins his great sermon with an indication that he will be challenging what we accept as true. Now, there's a clarification on the word normally translated as blessed. So if you want that, please click through to the linked short post on my blog at purposescrossed.com, which you will find in the description below. To a world that values riches, to a church that idolizes spiritual giants, Jesus elevates those who are poor and poor in spirit. These are the ones who now possess God's kingdom and who are promised it in the future. Riches lull us into feeling secure, and whatever gives us security is our God. This is why Jesus blesses the poor, not because they are poor, but because their situation enables them to trust God for His provision. The Bible witnesses to the fact that God has a special concern for those who are poor, those who are disenfranchised. We often forget this in our quest for wealth and power. Even in the church, we look for signs of spiritual power and believe that God blesses financially those who are truly spiritual. But Jesus here elevates exactly the opposite. But we often obscure Jesus' teaching by spiritualizing his words. We say that Jesus is blessing those who recognize their spiritual need and their inability to save themselves. But is this really what Jesus is saying? Remember, he is talking to his disciples. They are already part of the people of God. They are already saved. They are the ones who will later, in this passage, will be called blessed for being persecuted for Jesus' name's sake. The phrase poor in spirit could quite easily refer to those who, in the estimation of those who are recognized spiritual authorities, are poor. In other words, those who are lacking true spirituality. This is how many Jews viewed the followers of Jesus, because Jesus' followers did not observe many of the things that the righteous Jews observed. This also makes sense why Jesus addresses many of these norms in the sermon. Jesus is blessing his followers who are accused of having fake spirituality. The issue of fake spirituality is still relevant. Do we not still evaluate spiritual depth of other Christians even today? Jesus might now bless those whom we think are spiritually shallow. The spiritually rich people have labeled them spiritual paupers. These people are perceived to have no spiritual bank account on which to rely. They can depend only on God's favor. And the wondrous thing is that Jesus tells us that these people are the recipients of God's favor. Thank you.